In my previous video, I asked you guys if I should focus on driving or FPS gameplay in my heist game. Initially, I wanted to make a game that has both, but I realized that I'm trying to bite off more than I can chew. To my surprise, the vast majority of you are in favor of turning it into a driving game. A common reason was that the FPS gameplay I currently have looks mediocre, or mid as kids nowadays would say. Are you trying to hurt my feelings? Because if so, you are succeeding. Fortunately, my feelings regenerate at twice the speed of normal man's. Only 17% were in favor of FPS gameplay, and 13% had no clue, probably even about who I am or what I'm making. If that's you, then you should watch this playlist of all my devlogs. So I've decided, I'm getting rid of the FPS gameplay and turning this into a driving game, where your objective is to get away from cops after a successful heist. I do want to clarify that this wasn't a spontaneous decision, and this isn't related to burnout and lack of motivation. I'm making adjustments based on my experience working on the game, and what I can realistically make in a reasonable time frame. I know this is a disappointment to those of you who were looking forward to the game I originally was planning to make, but this is the way it has to be, otherwise I might as well cancel it. Although most of you were awesome and supportive, there were a few nasty and unintentionally funny comments. For example, I'm doing this because I only care about money and not the game.
You serious?
Several people have suggested that I should make linear levels instead of an open world. That would mean predetermined escape route with a couple of branching paths here and there, but the destination would ultimately be the same. So this would turn into something like a sprint race with cops. After thinking about this idea for a while, I kind of like it, because it would give me a lot of control. This has the potential of being more exciting because I know where the player is heading and the path they're taking, so I can plan roadblocks and ramps ahead of time, like Digital Green Tea suggested. You would still be able to switch vehicles and perhaps even lay low at a hiding spot. Brace yourselves for another pros and cons list. Here are the pros I came up for the open world game. Exploration. An open world would allow you to just drive and have fun. I remember playing GTA San Andreas for a couple of weeks at least before I started the first mission, because it was so fun to explore and interact with the environment. A linear game can't provide that. Freedom. Freedom to get to your destination any way you want. See a roadblock ahead? Just go around. Cons. Easier to break the game. I don't necessarily mean bugs, but you might be able to completely avoid cops by going around them, which might sound good to people who like stealth gameplay, but I want this game to be filled with high-speed chases, destruction and explosions. Longer development. This is kind of funny, because in my very first devlog I thought the exact opposite, but I've changed my mind since then. There are so many things in an open world game that can go wrong, so you need to spend a lot of time making sure that they don't. Pros for linear gameplay. Scripted events. Events like get across the train tracks before the train comes. You could do this in an open world too, but it would feel a bit forced, because why don't you just take a different road or go around? It would require a special area in the map where that's the only path. Varied level design. Most areas in most open world games look similar. In a linear game, you can easily move from a snow level to a desert or a jungle level without any issues. This is what I really like about older games. The next level is a mystery and something to look forward to, like a box of assorted chocolates. Cons. Lack of freedom. At least when it comes to getting to the destination. I think I would still allow the player to exit the vehicle to get a new one, in case the old one is too damaged or the tires are blown. No personal objectives. In an open world game you can come up with your own rules and objectives, like how long can you survive without switching cars and so on. One thing that's puzzling me about this new idea is how should the chase end. In an open world game, the goal would be to lose the tail before you get to the safe house, but that doesn't work in a sprint type race. Would failure to lose the cops result in a failed mission? Should the escape be time or distance based? If you make it far enough, should the cops just back off like in Driver? I know I take a lot of inspiration from Driver games, and I guess that's why many of you are excited to play it. Taking away the open world would sort of separate itself from the Driver franchise, which can be a disappointment for you Driver fans, but a good thing for the game in my opinion. I don't want to make a Driver clone, although it would end up being called a clone of some other game that I don't even know about. I'm interested in what you think about this, so here is yet another poll, since the last one turned out to be quite useful. Thanks to my supporters, Ark, Ajay Reddy, Backscratch, Michael Placido.